The Doctor Who Alhambra Podcast. Real Doctor Who fans with real Doctor Who opinions.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Alhambra Podcast. I'm your host, Brett, and in today's podcast, we've got a fascinating discussion lined up for you. I'll be first diving into some of the most underrated Doctor Who stories, those hidden gems that deserve more recognition going back from 1963 when the show started, all the way up to Flux, passing on Season 1, Series 14, or Series 40, because I think it is too early to deem any of the new stuff or the David Tennant specials as underrated at this time. Plus, later on, I'll be taking a closer look at the special letter from Big Finish's chairman, Jason Haig-Guillory, and exploring what this means for the future of our favorite audio drama department. Whether you're a longtime fan or a newcomer to the Whoniverse, there's something here in the Dr. Alhambra podcast for everyone. So grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's explore the wonders of Doctor Who together. All right. So first on the docket, I do want to go through a top 10 list that I found. Again, I am always, who am I to pass up a list? I mean, I know exactly who I am, somebody who wouldn't pass up a list. So I came across a list that discussed the most underrated Doctor Who episodes of all time from Collider. And this was produced on the 22nd of July, 2024. So I'm going to go through their top 10 most underrated classic Doctor Who's. I've not looked at this list yet. I'm going to give you my thoughts, and I have my own list of 10 for the and why they should be on there, and I'd love to compare and contrast both lists. I'm very excited to see what Collider has compared to what I have, and what do you have, dear listener, as somebody who is a fan of this classic Doctor Who television series. Do you find any of my list or Collider's list on your underrated? And I think I kind of forced myself to also, I used the Doctor Who magazine from 2014's, ranking system to make sure that none of them were in like the top 100. Because I feel as though in the top 100 of 300 and something or whatever options, I feel as though if you're in the top 100, it's not overrated. But if it is beyond the 100 list, then I think that is the underrated, that's where you get underrated. As well as when you get to the near end, you come to the scrap heap of dumpster fireness. So, we're going to take a look at this. The article starts off, the classic seasons of Doctor Who are a remarkable journey through time and space. The show began humbly in 1963 with a paltry budget, grainy visuals, and flimsy special effects. However, rich lore and likable characters, interesting that they said that, kept viewers hooked, eventually turning the show into a beloved science fiction institution. Each season expanded the mythology, kind of, and presented the hero with new challenges, from battling Daleks and Cybermen to navigating historical events in an alien world. In addition, new actors took the role, each putting their own distinctive spin, kind of, on the Time Lord and keeping the series fresh. The modern incarnation of the show is terrific and certainly more accessible, but the classic seasons are well worth checking out. They are rough around the edges, but understandably charming, filled with brim and whimsy and wackiness. They are highly creative and were deeply influential, leaving the lasting prints on British sci-fi and fantasy in particular. Here are 10 episodes from Doctor Who's early days. Okay, interesting. Because I didn't know where they were. I just saw this as a list. I do have, my list does encompass some of the new series. But we'll just do some comparison and contrast to see what this is. So here is the 10 episodes from Doctor Who early years that deserve more attention. So, number 10. Oh my gosh. Already strong disagreement right here. Wow. They went all out on this one. I'm wondering where I put my my magazine for this one so I could figure out. I know this is fantastic podcasting right here. Anyway, I'll have to search for that maybe another time. Number 10 from Collider, The Gunfighters. Now, if those of you who may or may not know, I am not a fan of Westerns. If you're a longtime listener of the Dr. Alhambra podcast, I begrudgingly purchased The Gunfighters probably about, I would say 12 years ago, maybe 13 years ago on DVD, because at that time, they didn't, the DVD range never said that they had a limited run. But whenever I would just peruse Amazon, and at the time I sold stuff on Amazon, I would take some of my Big Finish audios I didn't want and put them up for sale there. And I noticed that the Gunfighters suddenly went from about, $17.99 to about $54. And I realized that they're no longer pressing this episode anymore. And so I remember being at a, new/used media store. And I went down there because I knew I saw it and I made sure that I picked it up. I think I picked it up for like $22 or something like that, just so that I have, because as Liam has said, as Legion has said, I am a collector and I need to collect it all. And not owning the Gunfighters would stick in my craw. And then because I would end up probably buying the Region 2, because I did buy Region 2 DVDs to fit my collection because, people were holding the DVDs hostage and I wasn't about to give in to that. So, and again, for those of you that follow the podcast for quite some time, we as a podcast had a goal. If we could get so many downloads, I'm not sure if it was like 1,500 or whatnot. I can't even remember. But we set a goal for downloads. Who knows how many times Craig or something like that re-downloaded a whole bunch of stuff. I'm just kidding, Craig, if you're listening. But just to make sure that we would get the 1,500 downloads in 1 month. And then if we got it, we would end up doing a special Gunfighters, which is something that I just did not want to do, but a special Gunfighters review. And I want to say, I'm trying to find out where it was. I thought it was around episode 150-ish. But yeah, if you'd like to, you could always go scroll through our archives of the older podcasts and listen to me go through and discuss Doctor Who and the Gunfighters, which I think is very clunky, not a good series. And I if memory serves me right, there is a OK Corral original Star Trek episode, and that is much better than the Gunfighters. But yeah, according to Collider, the Gunfighters is lighthearted and packed with jokes. For example, there is a silly sequence in which the Doctor receives dental treatment. That is the weirdest thing about the whole thing. It is the Doctor going to needing a dentist and going to Doc Holliday or whatnot. There's gags on the wall that in the saloon reading "no shooting." Sure, why not? And then Dr. Calgary, to which a slackjaw cowboy replies, "Doctor Who." Yeah, that's always for me cringy unless it is done in the most smartly way done possible. So that is number 10 from Collider. Completely disagree. I don't think, but again, everybody's opinion is their own. You can disagree and agree with me. Email the show at alhambraaudio@gmail.com. Tweet the show at Alhambra Podcast. DMs are open if you'd like to reach out and discuss and whatever. Number 9 on their list. And I don't like what they did here because I think it's stupid. But Collider, after this one, did part 1 of the series. And this one, I'm just going to say it's just this series in general, because I think that it's really hard to just kind of say, oh, hey, part one of this episode is underrated. The rest of it is rated quite highly or rated quite lowly. So I disagree how they're doing this. But number 9 is Delta and the Bannerman, part 1. But again, I'll just say Delta and the Bannerman. I also disagree with this. I know this one is a favorite of Humphrey's. They have a potential possible replacement for Mel in this episode. I think she is from the possible companion is Welch, I think. But I did not like Delta and the Bannerman. I just thought it was goofy and not in the fun way, in the late 80s way, which is, for me, even in the late 80s, I found it cringy. But they said notable scenes include the opening laser shootout, the bus malfunctioning in space, and the subplot involving 2 bumbling American secret agents. As usual, the show blends the goofy with the serious, with the villain soon arriving on Earth to pursue Delta, and the episode neatly sets the stage for an enjoyable story arc. The Bannermen are formidable foes. That's why they've never come back again, with their beam weapons, booby traps, and spaceships, making this one of the Seventh Doctor's toughest fights. Sure. Number 8. I will give this one, number 8, a nod. I'm not sure it would be on my list. Again, not sure exactly where my list is, but I would not give it, put it on my list, because I think it's also probably within the top 100. But it is the Web Planet. Again, Collider right here now does part 1. And I think the Web Planet is an interesting series. It's not great. Me and Liam did early on in the podcast, we did an audio focus of the Web Planet. I didn't overly like it. I think possibly the Web Planet is overrated. The interesting thing about the Web Planet would be if this one possibly is better in book form. That's all I would say about that. I think there's a chance that the Zarbi, the whatever, could be a little bit, done better with the reader's imagination. But I would put this one possibly in an underrated list. It is not on my underrated list, but it could be. But again, I wish I had my Doctor Who book, because there's a chance that this one is in the top 100 or so. Number 7 on Collider, it says Planet of Fire, Part 1. Again, after the first one, they've always just done Part 1. I'm not digging that at all. Planet of Fire is the introduction of Turlough and the saying goodbye to Nicola Bryant as... Oh, no, sorry. Saying hello to Nicola Bryant, saying goodbye to Turlough. Yes, there we are. That's exactly what I meant. I think there is 2 great parts about Planet of Fire, and I think that it is kind of clunky, also very slow. And then, of course, you have the Master miniaturized at the very end of it, left in, I think, if memory serves me right, like a burning thingamabob. And then the next time we see the Master is Mark the Ronnie, where Perry's just like, oh, I thought we left you for dead or something like that. And he just laughs and doesn't even explain anything, which you could say maybe Big Finish could fill in the gaps. Just saying. I think Planet of Fire is rated at where it should be. I think it is, for me personally, around a 200-ish level rated series. But and maybe it's just because we go from the high of Urshock, and then we go to the insane high of Caves of Androzani, and sandwich in between is Planet of Fire. And I think maybe that's where possibly Planet of Fire could be seen as underrated. but who knows? We'd have to see. Number 6 on Collider's list is the Invasion of Time, Part 1, but I'm just going to go with the whole thing. Invasion of Time is not a well thought out story. We have the, out of nowhere romance between Leela and Time Lord Guard number 3. And it's always neat to see Gallifrey pop up from time and time again. We do get the interest, not the Virons, the static creatures. I don't think that they were. I think it being 6 parts really, really causes Invasion of Time to struggle. And then, of course, at this point in time, we're getting, extremely tall Centaurans because, everybody's forgotten what Bob Holmes had done way, way back, in The Time Warrior. And so I think we're kind of forgetting the actual size of the Centaurans. They said in Collider, the episode demonstrates significant increase in production value, seen in the robot dog K9 and the more elaborate TARDIS interiors. On the narrative side, it gets pretty tense with Gallifreyan crew threatening to destroy the incoming spaceship. Plus, the Doctor is relegated to the sidelines in this one, mostly being shunted about with a blank look on his face, leaving Leela to steal the show. And then, of course, the Doctor also, breaks the fourth wall, staring and just at the audience saying, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this one. So, of course, again, I think Invasion of Time, if memory serves me right, I think it belongs on the lower half of the top or of the 200 list, but that's just me. I'll have to check that out in a second. Ooh, I know what I could do. I could look at the updated rankings of these from the most recent Doctor Who Time Machine, Doctor Who magazine, to figure out where they were voted on by fans. Number 5, The Keys of Marinus. Now, I think that this one actually deserves to be underrated. It is long. It is 6 parts. You have the very interesting Vord, which it's sad that we've not yet seen many of them return since. I like that each episode kind of is in a brand new place. Obviously, through this one, you can see the clunkiness and, the lack of funds that, human arms as like robot hands that are holding, I think, Ian and preventing him from moving and stuff like that. I think there's some clunkiness. It's not perfect, but again, this is 1963 and 64. And I think that it actually does a good job. It doesn't hold up visually, but I think story-wise, it's fun. I almost, with the whole brains in the jar, would almost love it if they would just say 40 Quatloos on the newcomer. I would love for that to have been, connected to the Star Trek universe. Number 4. First time we don't have episode 1 for quite some time, is the Crotons. Oh, this is I toyed about putting this on my list. I think the Crotons it's a 4-parter, which is great. Collider says the underrated Doctor Who episode does a good job of revealing all of these secrets slowly. So about, the professors, the intelligence machine and stuff like that, mindless drones. The Crotons use lies to keep the Gonds whatever, and also interesting. I think what hurts this is how clunky, and again, I know it's a 60s show, but I think that things have happened less clunky in previous episodes. Just how clunky and how much time the Crotons take to do stuff. So, I do like, what is it, the Return of the Crotons, this Big Finish special, because of the croton that goes mad. I think that's quite interesting. Number 3. Oh, I do kind of agree with this one. And this one is not good, but it has meaning to me as somebody who watched this first with their dad and has a really good connection with this, and that is the invasion of the dinosaurs. Yes, the dinosaurs are massively clunky, and of course there had been needed to be so much restoration because most of the episodes only, or at least the first episode, only existed in black and white because of the BBC's wiping practices. And I like what Collider says. Invasion of the Dinosaurs is not Jurassic Park, but it's a ton of fun. For instance, there is an enjoyable sequence where the protagonists are arrested for looting, and the doctor cheerfully poses for his mugshot. I actually don't remember that. All I remember is I had a lot of fun. I was eagerly anticipating for this DVD to be re-released so that I could, and I hope that when they put this last Pertwee season on Blu-ray, that they are able to upgrade the color of the Invasion of the Dinosaurs even further. I'm curious if that's why they have yet to do the first and the last seasons of John Pertwee's, because of all of the missing color episodes and all the stuff that they had to do to recolorize it so that they can make it a tad bit more, I don't know, what would you say? What do I want to say? Just a tad bit more crisp. Yeah, there we are. That's the word, crisp. All right, number 2 is Creature from the Pit. Now, I do agree. This is a good story. I think that I don't have this one on my underrated list. Again, would be very curious to find out where this is. I will actually have to before I give my list, I'm going to have to go through and check out where some of these episodes are on the Doctor's rankings of the most recent Doctor Who magazine to figure out where some of these are, because I feel as though Creature of the Pit would probably be in mid, which is exactly where you'd want to be, is mid-level. I think Planet of Fire would probably be, I think, maybe think about the Fifth Doctor, somewhere mid. So it'll be interesting to see. Delta and the Bannerman. I'm just not a huge Seventh fan from the classic series, so I know, possibly unpopular opinion. It says the arc begins with the Doctor being attacked by moving plants before being taken prisoner. Let's see, he has a humorous exchange with one of the captors. Again, that is Tom Baker's Doctor to a T, who tells him that if he is found trespassing in a secret place, for the punishment is death. And Tom Baker's Doctor says, well, you could have at least put up a notice. Again, I think this is probably a mid-level ranked episode, and I think that this one is aptly put. It again, so far, I don't believe, if memory serves me right, because I'm not looking at my list, I don't think any of these are on my list, and I like that. I have strong disagreements with some of them, but yeah. All right, and number 1. Oh, is this one of the first ones I agree with and is on my list? Is Black Orchid. So this is the murder mystery 2-parter where Matthew Waterhouse basically has nothing to do, so he just sits around and eats, is constantly being seen eating in the background. So I think the murder mystery part of this is super fun. I do have one that is a murder mystery that I am very excited to talk about, but yeah, I have no qualms with that one. I am going to now look at so Fourth Doctor. Where am I? Where is that? That's the 11th Doctor. Sorry, this is so fascinating right now as I try to find that. Okay, so the episodes that I was looking at, so I pulled up the Fourth Doctor, and I was wondering where Creature of the Pit ranked from on this. And Creature of the Pit is for all the Fourth Doctors, uh, out of 41 stories, it is ranked 35th. So actually, according to that list, Creature from the Pit is underrated. If I look at, let's see, I'm going to look at Invasion of Time. So Invasion of Time is 36th on the list. Did this person just like look at like near the tail end of everything? That would be super lazy. All right. So that was the Fourth Doctor. So now I'm going to look at the Fifth Doctor and look at Planet of Fire and Black Orchid. So out of 21 stories from the Fifth Doctor, wait, is this the Fifth Doctor? No, this is the Second Doctor. Okay. So I have, what was, the Crotons is 18th. Did this person just look at like the last 3 and just kind of go up? Oh my word. Okay, now I'm very interested. You have piqued my interest, sir. All right, so now I'm going to look at the Third Doctor because now I'm super interested. I hope this also is good radio. We have Invasion of the Dinosaurs is actually a mid out of all 24 episodes of the Third Doctor by fans. It currently is in the 13th spot. You know, lower than Curse of Peladon, higher than the Mind of Evil. Interesting. Higher than the Planet of Spiders. That's interesting too. All right. Now, I think I want to do one or two more before I move on to. All right, so we got the Gunfighters. Let's see where the Gunfighters and the Web Planet rank. So, out of 29 First Doctor episodes, Web Planet is dead last. Is 29 currently out of all of them. Okay, I apologize. Gunfighters is 21st, which is slightly one spot lower than the Ark and one spot higher than the Savages. I like that the Celestial Toymaker is 23rd. I find that such an overrated. Ooh, Liam would be very angry. The Sensorites are 27 out of 29. All right. So that is Collider's list. Here is my list, my top 10. And so keep in mind, I did not read the complete article. I just saw a list. I decided to do old and new just to be sure, because generally most lists want to include new because, that is generally the modern audience. And I will tell you, I like my list a lot more. But, all right. Number 10 is the 10th Doctor and Martha story from Series 13, Gridlock. I find this story very interesting because you have a society that basically has tried to cure so many different things, depression, blah, blah, blah. And in doing so, they created a disease that nearly wiped out everybody. And the safety precautions basically had everybody forced in a massive gridlock in this planet where most of them are living their lives trying to get home. I think for generations or so. I can't remember that. But out of all of them, out of all 300, Gridlock was ranked 136. Number 9, I have the Fourth Doctor regeneration story with Sarah Jane and Harry of Robot. I think that is a underrated story. I think it is probably one of the stronger regeneration stories. But again, I think that when we think of the Fourth Doctor, we think of, Genesis of the Daleks. I think you think of, what is it? The one with Jago and Lightfoot in. I think that, I think of like the last series also. And then sometimes Shada gets brought up. But I think Robot is kind of underrated as a story, not underrated as a regeneration story. Number 8. This one came out before or after 2014. So I don't know where this would land. Ooh, I know where I could do. There is, let's see. Let me see where this is on the 12th Doctor, because I do have that ranking right here. So my number 8 is the 12th Doctor and Clara story, Sleep No More. I am a sucker for found footage horror movies, and I really appreciated and enjoyed Sleep No More. According to fans, all 35 episodes of Peter Capaldi, Sleep No More is actually ranked 33. So it is 2 away from the bottom. It is, according to fans, slightly better than Kill the Moon, and it is worse than The Woman Who Lived. I don't remember that one. Anyway. Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind. I know that one. I think that is a lot better than Robots of Sherwood and Smile and Pyramids at the End of the World. Yeah. Return of Dr. Mysterio. It is way better than that, in my opinion. Next, we have Terror of the Vervoids, which is a 6th Doctor and Mel story. This is a murder mystery. I really appreciate it. I think it is a fun story. Because I find that the 6th Doctor, I really like him on audio. I think his character is really figured out quite well on audio. But on video, I think that the 6th Doctor struggles. I know that this was one of the ones that this is the story that Chris Chibnall way back in the day was complaining about. And the sad part about what Doctor Who Magazine did is they lumped all of the Trial of the Time Lord series. So according to this, there's only 8 episodes of the 6th Doctor series, and they took all of the Trial of the Time Lords and they just hunked them all together. And it is, out of 8, it is 4th. So I guess you could say maybe mid. I think personally Mind Warp is the best out of the bunch, but that is just me. But I think, again, I was trying to go over, Vengeance on Varos is the best 6th Doctor, but trying to find the most underrated one. The Lodger. Nope, sorry. I crossed that out. I put The Lodger, and then I saw that it was 60th, and I put Black Orchid. So number 6 for me is Black Orchid. So the only thing that I have in connection with the actual list from Collider is my 6th one, which is Black Orchid. Number 5, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, the 11th Amy and Rory and a Chris Chibnall written episode. Who would have thought that he would appear on a underrated list as a writer? But I think Dinosaurs on a Spaceship is fun. As of 2013, it was rated as 137th out of all the things. So kind of like a mid, and maybe you're trying to look for, one of those lower mid ones, but still, I really appreciate Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. I think it is fantastic. Number 4, the First Doctor story. And I've talked about this numerous times on the podcast. I think one of the best First Doctor stories is The Edge of Destruction. This is the one that takes place right after the Daleks. Takes place all on TARDIS. There is so much, we have the exploration of the TARDIS. We get to see a little bit more of it. We get to see their habits and whatnot. And I just think that it is a fantastic, fantastic story. For me, next, 3rd place on my list is the 3rd Doctor and Joe, The Claws of Axos. And it's interesting because on the complete list, nope, I didn't write that. Never mind. Because I couldn't find what the number was because it wasn't making any sense. And I crossed that one out. On the most modern list of where things lie, out of 24 episodes, Claws of Axos is the 19th. So, very low to the bottom. Number two is, I think, and this has been on a couple of my lists also before, the Second Doctor story, which is the moon base. I think the moon base is such an underrated story. I think it is probably one of the better animated stories that has been done for some of the missing episodes. As I look at the most recent Doctor Who magazine, the moon base is basically in the middle. Out of 21 episodes done by the Second Doctor, Moonbase is 11th on rated by fans of Doctor Who magazine, and number one. And this could be very controversial because, and if you've listened to the podcast for a while, this might not be a surprise, but I think, especially when me and Liam have done a audio focus of this many years ago, I think that this story is actually so much better. It is let down by the lighting. It is let down by the clunkiness of one, not villain, but amphibian, I guess you could say. And that is Warriors of the Deep. Out of 300-ish, or maybe 200, I can't remember how many it was. I think it's 244, maybe. I believe Warriors of the Deep was rated 226th on the most recent Big Finish magazine. Out of 20 Fifth Doctor stories, Warriors of the Deep is 19th. So there is my top 5 most underrated stories. I do think Warriors of the Deep does get a bad rap for bad lighting, kind of some overacting, and a clunky Murker, sorry. Same thing. It lurked and it murked. So yeah, that's my list. Again, what would you find as your most underrated not Big Finish? Ooh, that'd be a good one. Most underrated Big Finish stories. I like that. All right. So yeah, email the show at alhambraaudio@gmail.com. Tweet the show at Alhambra Podcast. DMs are open. And now, without further ado, let's get to the note that was sent by Jason Heggellery. Now, this is quite interesting because, let's see. Let me just pull this up. I had everything all ready to go. All right. So I wasn't aware of this note. Liam tagged me in the Big Finish audio group where somebody took a screenshot and put something up. And then, of course, I got a note saying that this happened a little bit later. So somebody who is a child said on the Musk platform of evil. Okay, so just avoid all social media, this person, because everything is a, platform of evil. So, remove yourself from this. You don't have to like him, but you know what? Don't be a baby. Big Finish said that the app and the website are built by 2 separate companies working from the same database. While the app team has had iterative success, the website team appears to have ghosted them. So I was searching for this on the Big Finish page. I guess this was a reply to somebody else. And Big Finish replied, said, "Hi, Richard. The app dev and the website team are 2 separate companies, both working with the same database. Clearly, the app team is having greater success fixing the issue than the website team. Unfortunately, we haven't received any recent updates from the latter." So there is known issues from the website, and nobody is quite sure what the heck is going on from the website because, people are not responding to emails, which is never a good sign. So, Big Finishes, let's see. I just want to pull this up right here. So the audio group posted that. Oh, that's not what I wanted. It just sent me to the whole thing right here. All right. Okay. So also on the Big Finish Facebook page, they posted the same letter. And, you know, first person said, before I even read this, actually, let me just go through the letter. So it is titled on the Big Finish website, published the 7th of August, 2024, an update on the recent changes at Big Finish from Chairman Jason Haig-Guillory. It says, Dear Big Finish listeners, over the past 18 months, Big Finish has undergone a transformational change. We have introduced several new systems which control the essential business functions of Big Finish. These systems, which include stock control, dispatch and shipping tracking, payment gateways, and accounting, email and customer service tools, replacing older software that had reached the end of its life. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. As somebody who has worked in a certain office where, we were, I swear, in the late or in like 2009 or whatnot, using Microsoft systems and programs that were created in the late 90s. And, it just, is being held together by sheer will at that point in time. So I totally understand where they're coming from. It says they were vital upgrades, I agreed, needed to ensure that we could continue to fulfill orders to our customers, and all the behind the scenes systems have been tested for many months and are working seamlessly. So that's why they had to push back. I wonder if they had to push back Death World because, currently I'm still missing three. I just barely noticed. I'm missing three of my most recent purchases on the new Big Finish app and also the website. Now, the web, according to what I've heard, is the app communicates with the website. So me not having them is not the app's fault because everything is being driven through the website. So I'm curious if the main reason why that they pushed off Death World's release, and it'd be interesting to see when certain things are going to be released in the near future is, and I haven't noticed, let me just pause for a second. I haven't noticed what it looks like when they release something, because it used to, say coming soon with a little circle by it. And also, let's see. So the Trial of a Time Lord. So the Sixth Doctor one, it said I have uh, listened to the trailer. So that's available. I'm going to click on that and see if that is either available for pre-order or if, let's see, because I have ordered that. Is it available for pre-order? What if I click CD and it is available for pre-order. So the first thing that has come out for the month of August is currently in pre-order. So I'm curious if they pushed back because of the release date of Death World and because of all of the downfalls of this website. I'm curious if that's the reason why it's all ready to go. They don't need to do any reshooting or whatnot. It is just because, like my situation with my most recent three purchases, I don't have it on the app. I don't have it on the website. And I'm curious if that would have been the same thing for Death World. Okay. I'm actually feeling a little bit better about that right now. Not a whole heck of a lot, but a lot better than I did earlier before just thinking this through. It says, let's see, the final action of this transformation was the rolling out of our new shop front, the Big Finish website and app. Unfortunately, it is very clear that a number of mistakes have been made. In particular, the migration of customer data has not gone as planned, and browsing experience of the website and app is proving to be frustrating. Yeah, they keep on notifying of app updates, and I will tell you, some of the app updates have fixed problems, and some of them still have done nothing. But it'd be kind of curious to find out which team is the reason for it. Is the app just not still updated to where it needs to be, or if some of this is being driven by the website? Interesting situation. I sincerely apologize to everyone who has encountered difficulties accessing their purchase libraries since the relaunch, or who feels Ooh, I like this. Thank you, Jason. Or who feels let down by how we have managed the process. That is a huge line right there. And I like that it is, explaining the situation and within the first things, these are needed things. And as somebody who's been in a situation where that needed to be done, I can totally understand. And then saying, in the fifth paragraph, that it's clear that there's been mistakes made. And we're, you know, basically admitting that, people's feelings do matter. Like, I sincerely apologize to anyone who has encountered these difficulties or who feels let down. I think that is so important. Realizing that, people have put their money into these things, they have a passion. This is a side fandom. The main fandom is Doctor Who. Big Finish is doing a side fandom with continuing stories. So I think keeping the side fandom as happy as possible would probably be to the best betterment of the business going forward. It says, I know from seeing the many messages coming in via email and social media that these updates are a cause of worry and concern to many listeners. I would like to reassure each and every customer that no purchase will be lost. I appreciate that. And I'm going to go and share with you part of an email that I got that I thought was kind of funny. Liam didn't find anything funny about it. I thought it was kind of funny. And I'll explain why when I get there. Or concern to many listeners. I would like to reassure each and every customer that no purchases will be lost. All the data is safe, and we are committed to improve the functionality, accessibility, and reliability of the website, whatever it takes. Now, I think that is great. I think, that is very, cordial and very politically, very dignified, I guess you could say. The interesting thing is, and he does mention it a little bit later, but, to completely miss a whole bunch of stuff, to completely have a really, and I've heard, some people still didn't like the previous iteration of the website. I think it's fine. It did its job. I was able to navigate without really any problem. The only thing is what are we going to do going forward? I think that's the biggest thing. And how long is the timetable? When will Liam be able to access or not hear 17,000 numbers for each page? If you haven't yet had a chance to do so, I would urge you to read the new how-tos page, which explains how to reset your password key, blah, blah, blah. The team will also keep updating the work in progress page with known issues and our timetable. That's good. I think you should have probably put that part up with the functionality of the website and not, that's kind of burying the lead at the very bottom. As you might imagine, Big Finish customer service team is currently inundated with messages, but they will do their best to answer all queries. And I did get a query answer. It took about 4 or 5 days but I still did. I thank you in advance for your patience and understanding and loyalty and for sticking with us. Finally, please let me restate how deeply. So again, we're having a apology sandwich. You start off with, they didn't even start off with the apology. They start off with an explanation. So we kind of have an apology sandwich with an explanation on top. So, but you know what? They're trying to be sincere. Let me please restate how deeply sorry I am for the inconvenience so many of our loyal listeners are experiencing at the moment. I completely recognize the very valid frustrations being expressed. Hey, you know what you could do? Knock off a couple bucks here and there for some of your listeners who've been around for a while. Not saying that the ones that are new to Who or Big Finish don't deserve anything, but you know what? People like Liam that have bought everything, and then when they come out with a special edition, seventh or eighth Doctor and Lucy Miller thing. Even though he already owns it, he buys it again because he is that dedicated to Big Finish, and yeah, so and the products that they sell. So after that, this was put on Big Finish page on Facebook, and first person says, "I'm very grateful on how much Big Finish have been communicating with everyone. I think that is very important. I felt as though personally when the initial page going down and them just reposting things to purchase, I think that was kind of tone deaf and not smart at all. But I like that since probably about August 1st, well, 31st, when they're just like, oh, yeah, we promise it'll be fine. We'll get back to you. And, but, maybe they were running around with like a chicken with their heads cut off. I personally love the Big Finish for the app. Let's see. I personally would love for the app to bring back sort by range collection. I do agree with that too. Um, you'd think Doctor Who fans would know there's usually some instability after regeneration. Oh, that's stupid. If that's supposed to be clever, I don't agree with you. So let's see. So Liam posted this. He reposted the entirety of what Jason Haig Guillory said from the letter onto the Facebook fan page, or not the Facebook fan page. Sorry, I'm banned from that one because I laughed. Did somebody turn off the comments to that? Because there's no comments. There's either like, laugh, face, love. I'm not digging that. That's exactly what the old whatever. Let's see. I'm curious. Somebody says, I think the general consensus is that we've kind of been screwed over. In the past, it's felt like we as customers have been treated respectfully and told well in advance about changes. Oh. Yet this time we were told about the new site and the new app, but we were never told about the price increase and stuff such as postage costs on pre-orders. I'm quite cheesed off at the app. So it's so cheap looking compared to what we had. It still has a vital things missing, such as you can't choose downloads to any external SD cards like before. Okay, so displeased. Somebody said Big Finish has been saying that they're be increasing their prices for years. Yeah, but what they did was they didn't increase the prices. They made the US market basically mirror the actual price of the UK market. So when it came out for £19.99, it wasn't being sold in America for $19.99. It's now being sold for like $24.52, which would probably be similar to 19.99 or £19.99, whatever. However, it is said in England. Yeah, I think. Oh, somebody posted, does anyone think that the Big Finish will release anything in August? I hope they do. I think that is really interesting. This person says, I think the Big Finish podcast, I suppose, will be out next week, maybe if the situation will be better explained. I don't know. That's it. Like I said, I think that's the reason why they pushed back Death World, is I think it was supposed to come out around the end of July, first week of August or so. And because of this snafu, because I do not have 3 of my most recent downloads that I purchases available for download anywhere, except for the old app, in which I'm so grateful that I was able to do that. I think that there's a chance that nothing comes out unless the website team gets their butt in gear and starts doing certain things. I think that is what is really going to cause the majority of the problem. This is me just speculating. Let's see. What else? And I think this is so funny because everybody is constantly starting a brand new thread on all of this stuff. And if this were to happen on the other page, so many people would be chewed the crap out. All right. So I'm going to leave off the podcast with the email message that I myself got the other day. And I do appreciate it. So I will tell you, I just said, hey, I'm missing these. Okay. What I said was, I recently emailed inquiries about an issue. It looks like as it's past the 5th of August, I am needing to reach out to this email address, which was the app web email address. I said, I know you guys are experiencing lots of issues right now. I don't mean to include on the load, but currently I am missing some releases. They don't show up on the website's new app. I know I purchased them because they were downloaded to the old app, and I'm sure that this can be solved easily. However, my biggest concern is that I'm not sure what else is missing from my account, as those are the most recent releases and were easily noticed. But what about the other purchases? I don't see most of my recent orders posted on the Big Finish website as I used to be able to see. I didn't keep many of my purchasing emails because you guys have always had a history of purchases on the site. So after, let's see, and I sent that on the 4th, I think, 5th. And a couple days later, I got this. It says, hello. I am sorry for any concern caused over the disastrous launch. That is what I loved right there. That even within this email to a customer, it was explained that this launch was disastrous. We are aware of the missing titles/orders on the new app and website. The development team is working tirelessly to resolve the issues. Please rest assured that you will not, capital or all capitals, not lose any that you have paid. The data is still intact on the old website. Nothing is lost. Kind regards, Brenda. Thank you, Brenda. I do appreciate your kind response and acknowledging, just like Jason Haig-Gallery noted, that this is not a good situation. And it is well known that this has not gone according to plan. But kind of like the Big Finish website or audio group, that there has been not good communication. And it'll be interesting to see how many people does this really sting or trigger to move on. It'll be very interesting to see. So with that, I am going to conclude this podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please email me at alhambraaudio@gmail.com about all of the things that you about your most underrated lists from new to old, as well as your thoughts for the Big Finish website /app/ their situation. Love to hear from you. Again, I guarantee if you email the show, your email will probably most likely 99.9% be read, unless it ends up in the Phantom Zone, because I think my email account has a Kryptonian Phantom projectile. So yeah. Thanks again for listening and downloading. And until next time, we will see you in time.
You have been listening to the Doctor Who Alhambra Podcast. Doctor Who is owned and trademarked by the BBC. Doctor Who Alhambra is not affiliated with the BBC or Big Finish. No infringement is intended. Visit our website at alhambrapodcast.weebly.com or email the show at alhambraaudio@gmail.com. Tweet us at Alhambra Podcast. That is ALHAMBRA Podcast. Thank you.